20th century in the United States of America, hundreds and hundreds of teenage boys and girls are becoming homosexual every year. It's fantastic, it's unbelievable, and it's terrible, but it's true.
I drew our family in school today.
Oh, wow!
I didn't have time to finish Caleb's face. Carrie drew two mommies. She told me they're married to each other. My teacher says that all that matters is that people love each other and that they're happy.
Well, people have their own ideas about what is right and wrong. But what matters is how Jehovah feels. He wants us to be happy, and he knows how we can be happiest. That's why he invented marriage the way he did.
You mean one man and one woman?
Exactly. Look at Genesis 1:27. Jehovah created Adam and Eve, male and female. Then in Genesis 2:24, he said that a man will stick to his wife. Later, Jesus said the same thing. Jehovah's standards haven't changed. It's kind of like going on an airplane. What would happen if someone wanted to bring something on the plane that wasn't allowed?
They couldn't go on their trip.
Right. It's the same with Jehovah. He wants us to be his friend and live in paradise forever. But we have to follow his standards to get there. At Matthew 7:13 and 14, it talks about the road leading to paradise. To get there, Jehovah says we have to leave some things behind. That means anything Jehovah doesn't approve of.
But I want everyone to get to paradise.
So does Jehovah. And you know what? People can change. That's why we share his message. So, what can you say to Carrie?
Well, I could tell her about the paradise. I could tell her about the animals and the resurrection.
That's awesome! Let's practice.
There may be some in this auditorium. There may be some here today that will be homosexual in the future. There are a lot of kids here. There may be some girls that'll turn lesbian. We don't know. But it's serious. Don't kid yourselves about it. They can be anywhere. They can be judges, lawyers. We ought to know we've arrested all of them. So if any one of you have let yourself become involved with an adult homosexual or with another boy, and you're doing this on a regular basis, you better stop quick. Because 1 out of 3 of you will turn queer. And if we catch you involved with a homosexual, your parents are going to know about it first. And you will be caught. Don't think you won't be caught. Because this is one thing you cannot get away with. This is one thing that if you don't get caught by us, you'll be caught by yourself. And the rest of your life will be a living hell.
Public restrooms can often be a hangout for the homosexual. Bobby and his friends hadn't noticed the man who had been in the restroom when they changed, and as it was late, he suggested they take the shortcut under the pier, but the others preferred to take the more traveled way home. When Bobby recognized the stranger as the man in the restroom, the shortcut under the pier didn't seem like a good idea at all. After all, it's more fun to stay with your friends anyway. Bobby had made a wise decision. It may have saved his life. One never knows when the homosexual is about. He may appear normal, and it may be too late when you discover he is mentally ill. So keep with your group, and don't go off alone with strangers unless you have the permission of your parent or teacher.
Sometimes standard shock absorbers aren't enough. That's why Monroe makes these big goodies. Now, anytime you have to carry something heavy like a big old fat trick you might have picked up when you were just horny at night and couldn't get lucky, well, you just took your air hose and put it up his woo-woo and made him just puff out even more. Now you could just stick it here and just go Oh my goodness, is that heaven? Is that a fun goodie? Take that home and your missus will just forget about everything. Oh, I tell you, I had one of these at home. I can't tell you how many years ago. I had it at home and just to sit on it every night and it just lifted me up to the sky and I'd shriek with delight. It was heaven. Just my air hose and my Monroe. It's all you need for happiness. Think about it.
Where's your mommy?
Is marriage about what adults demand or what children need?
What is a homosexual? Is he or she a person who has simply chosen an alternate sexual life, or a mentally sick person who, like any other, should be treated by whatever resources the psychiatric profession has? That question, that debate, has generated a small civil war in the psychiatric establishment. Controversy has become public is that homosexuality has become public. In the language of gay liberation, they've come out of the closet and into the streets. Consider homosexuality a mental disorder. He says psychiatrists should not try to make homosexuals into heterosexuals. He says his therapy sessions are designed to help homosexuals free themselves of the guilt and fear that he says society and psychiatry have imposed on them.
Before we do, something I'd like to ask you to do. And that's to be able to tell people how to deal with their kids who are gay. What could you say to them that perhaps their own kids can't say?
It's hard because when I told my parents it was, there was a lot of that pain business mixed up, you know, and I was trying to inflict pain on them and inflict pain on me and get an extreme reaction from them and that sort of thing. And so that's, you know. But, like I ended that letter to my mother, you know, I said, it seems absurd that at 25 years old, I'm a grown man, that I have to ask my parents to love me. And
Charles Silverstein led the fight to remove homosexuality from the diagnostic manual. He appeared before the association's nomenclature committee to argue that inherently homosexuals are no more disturbed than heterosexuals. We spoke with Silverstein and with Ronald Gold, the spokesman for the Gay Activist Alliance of New York. We asked them why they objected to the designation of homosexuality as a mental disorder.
If a government wants to make X behavior against the law, it can. And it can proclaim whatever kind of penalty it wishes, including death. But what has happened in this country, in the Western world in general, is that the psychiatrists have come in and linked the prescriptions of society and what's supposed to be called medical science, and it's not medical science at all.
What is wrong with calling it a mental disorder? We're in an age when many mental disorders are
by that, anything that isn't what the majority does is a mental disorder. You want to do that?